Hey everybody, Hunter Jackson with Guaranteed Rate Mortgage here. We're talking about being a first-time home buyer. If you tuned into our video last week, we talked about having that initial conversation all the way through filling out the online application. So we filled out that application. What happens next? I get all sorts of emails telling me that you finished your application, so don't worry. I'm going to be in touch. I'm going to go through your application. I'm going to compare it with what we talked about on the phone. I'm going to compare it with what you told me and make any adjustments. And then also, I'm going to compile a list of questions that I have for you. Those questions are going to come from things like the income that you put in there. Hey, what does your credit report show that A, you told me it would, or B, you didn't tell me that it would? There might be questions like, hey, you didn't tell me you had this happen a couple years ago, or, but you said that your score was like in the 500s and you're sitting around 650. That's great. So those are some of the things that I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be working with your inputted income or anything that you've sent over to me, which I always like to have bank statements. I always like to have pay stubs so that I can give you the best information possible. I'm going to look at your credit score. I'm also going to look at your debt to income ratio, which is how much money you've got going out every month versus how much money you have coming in. And I'll also look at your assets. Assets are things like money. Yes, they're money. So what money do you have saved? What money do you have in a 401k? These things that we can use to go towards a house. I'm also going to look at your liabilities. So how much money in student loans do you have? What's the best way to offset those payments to get us the lowest debt to income ratio possible to either A, afford you more house, or B, get you a better potential mortgage insurance rate or thing like that. Those are the things that we'll be looking for as we go through that application. Then I'm going to give you a shout. Yes, I like to talk to my customers. It's not only so I can provide great service and you hear from me, it's also so I can get the best information. I don't like surprises, and that allows me to have great information for later. After we do all that, you'll either need to send me some documentation if you haven't yet, or I'll go ahead and send you over a pre-approval letter. So that pre-approval letter is going to say, hey, guess what? You're pre-approved for a loan for this. Or you're going to have to send me some documentation before I issue that, because my pre-approval letters are worth their weight in gold, whereas other people's are barely worth their weight in paper. So after you get that pre-approval letter, after you earn that pre-approval letter, then we can go shopping for a house. So stay tuned next week. We're going to talk about shopping for a house, what that looks like, and how to get what you want.